So I just saw the clock turn top of the hour. We're going to get started because we always do this. We have packed the agenda. So we'll go ahead and get started. Everything is being recorded. So glad you're here. Welcome and Happy New Year. We're really thrilled that you're joining us for this quarterly update. And we do plan to do this quarterly. We're very much wanting to be transparent in what we're doing and highly connected with those that we seek to serve. HRC is your space, and we're so excited to share what we've been working on together. And so, whether you're new to HRC, perhaps it's the first time you're joining us, maybe you're a longtime member, or you're not yet connected with us, we hope that you'll leave today feeling energized, inspired, and connected. It's really important to us, that piece of making connections. During this introduction of the event, I encourage you to drop your name, where you're located, maybe something you're looking forward to in 2025, your LinkedIn URL, because that does help with those connections, or other contact information you might want to share. Now, there's three of us with HRC, and we're missing Paul today. So I do want to say, if Paul were here today, he would say that how we do this is how we do everything. And what we mean by that is this event and this next thing I'm about to step into. So Dawn's going to be dropping into the chat a link to the landing page for our community platform. On that is our list of our mission, vision, purpose, values. And what we like to do when we come together on team calls is starting by connecting with those. And we actually got that. She's on the call, so I'm going to call her out, Kathleen. Kathleen said, because she had joined us for a little while, she said, that's how we should always do this. And she's right, and we do. So what we do, because we can't go through all of those, we pick one or two of those and we read them out loud and really focus in. So for this event today, we're going to focus in on radical collaboration. So I am going to share my screen. Radical collaboration. I wonder, anybody on the call want to read that for us? Mindy, I saw your hand go up.
I would love to because I love that. Breaking silos, sparking transformation together. We achieve the extraordinary
Yes.
together.
Yep. And we're emphasizing together, we cannot do this alone. That's one of the premises of what it is that we're seeking to create, is that most of us are trying to do things on our own and doing a lot of hard work to do that and not making the difference, that true transformative difference that we want to make. And so we believe that the only way that we can do this is if we truly seek to do it together. Thank you for reading that for us, Mindy. I appreciate that. So for us, radical collaboration also means recognizing that no one person or organization can transform healthcare alone. The complexity of this challenge we face demands collective effort, bringing together diverse perspectives, skills, experience to create the solutions that are greater than the sum of their parts. So we invite you to embrace this value with us, to reach across boundaries, connect with others, and contribute your unique insights. Together, we can make the extraordinary possible. So real quick, we're going to now just share with you what our agenda is. I'm just clearing off one screen so I can share my screen and you're not seeing everything else behind me. And then hit the slide share. There we go. And so our agenda today, we of course are starting with the welcome and grounding. We've just completed that. We're going to review the agenda very quickly. We're going to step into an overview of HRC. So we're not going in depth. We're just going to give you some of the highlights about what's currently going on with us, what this last quarter had and where we're going. We're going to have some member stories of impact. We've invited Mindy, Kim, and Kathleen to share their stories. We're going to ask you, we've set up one of our events for Q1, but these public events that we do that have a subject, and we usually invite guests to join us to present, to share their insights, we're going to ask you to help us fill out the calendar for Q2. We're also going to look at the network map, and that's going to be a real quick overview because we have a full event on Friday that is focused on the network map. But we do want to, in all of our meetings, be referencing that social network map, how we're going to help you to see and find those that you can collaborate with. And then we're going to have closing and next steps. We are really thrilled to announce that HRC has officially formed as a business. And I think some of you who have been on calls with us in the past heard us talk about we were leaning into forming as a social purpose corporation. We really wanted to do that. And then we found a fantastic lawyer who's been working with us who said, Yes, and social purpose corporations have a lot of additional burden to to prove what you're doing and all of this documentation and paperwork. She said, really, at the stage you're at, I'd recommend that you form as an LLC and build into your operational agreement and the way you do things those elements that made you want to be a social purpose corporation. And so that's what we're working on. In our operational agreement, it is going to be very clear that we are a non-hierarchical organization. We are ensuring that our purpose, our vision, and our values are centered to who we are. We're going to be exceptionally mindful of this culture that we're developing. And in such, as we create this community, this network, we want to ensure that it becomes a highly trusted place, that you know that these individuals who are coming to us are aligned with our purpose and are they themselves purpose driven, so that when you are meeting somebody within the community space, you're seeing them on our social network map, you know that they have been vetted of sorts and that you can trust them, so that we can truly step into this radical collaboration that we want to be having. Our organizational structure is intentionally designed to be a low hierarchy. So we won't be having titles of CEO or anything like that. Don, Paul, and I at this stage are co-catalysts, and we're looking for others to join us at that level. We are emphasizing shared responsibility and alignment with our values. We are truly, as I said, we're committed to building a culture that embodies radical collaboration and the other values you'll see listed on our website. The other thing that we're thrilled to be able to announce is our membership is now open. In the last year, we were bringing people in on free plans, saying, come on in, because of that awareness of their alignment with the work that we're doing. And we've built 2 plans in our space at this moment. One is that public or guest lobby, and that is where we're posting quite a bit of content and hoping that people will get a good idea of what HRC is. And then we have a second membership that is currently open. And that membership is that next level where we're actually stepping into some of this work that we're doing, such as building of the social network map. That is a member value to being part of that paid membership level. We have a number of other aspects about the difference between the public and the member space. That link that Dawn posted earlier that gets you to that landing shows you the difference between the two. We do currently have 221 members. We are thrilled about that and look forward to watching that grow. And that network membership plan is open right now through January 10th at just $49 a year. And those who sign up now, it won't change. It'll always only be $49 a year. On January 11th, it'll go up to $99 a year. We're not here to sell you on anything. We just wanted to let you know that the membership plans are open. We also want to let you know that we're building to create. We have 2 additional plan types that we're getting ready to launch. And as part of our ongoing development, we've been very mindful of these plans. So as we got to this stage in development, a number of people have helped us. Lonnie's on the call. He was instrumental to getting us where we are today. We have Jennifer Beach, who has done a lot with us around our newsletter, and we have a number of other individuals. And one of the things that we've been very mindful of is what the difference is between volunteering your time and investing your time. And so we're very carefully wanting to create a structure where people say they want to step in to build HRC alongside us, and that the structure is they're investing their time. They are what they put in, they're going to get out in a degree. It's beyond just that effort of contributing to the purpose, they may also get another contribution. So those 2 plans will be coming out soon. The first, the core annex plan. So we'll have the core ops team, which is the 7 owners, that group of 7 we hope to have. We currently have 3. The core annex team will be right alongside them, but not owners. So they're not taking that next step to ownership, but they're going to participate in leadership discussions. They're going to help us with a lot of this operational or other work that it takes to do what we're hoping to do. And then the collaborator plan, these individuals can also lean in and help with projects, but they wouldn't be leading projects. But they're able to participate in some of this work that needs that extra hand in it. And then, of course, both of those groups will get tokenized for the work that they're doing. They'll be recognized for their contributions, ensuring that time, effort, and ideas are equitably valued as we grow together. And these plans will reflect our commitment, again, to radical collaboration and our belief that everyone in the network has something vital to contribute. So again, we're emphasizing shifting from that focus of this time and energy we're putting into this as volunteered time to instead investing time. And more to come on that. Dawn, I will share my screen again, and it's now
All right.
yours. Yeah.
All right. Super. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit on the two loops model. Many of you on the call today are familiar with this. If you're new to the two loops model, it's a powerful framework for system change. And we'll drop a link to a quick YouTube video if you'd like deeper insights about it. But here's the essence. It's about shifting from an old system to an emerging one through collaborative efforts. And we see HRC as the bridge in this process. So HRC's mission has been built around the elements of identifying change makers, connecting them, supporting them, and then illuminating their work. Like many of you on this call, we want to identify you, connect you, support you, and illuminate your work, because together we're shaping a future of healthcare by elevating this work and the ideas that create real impact. We'll share a link in the chat to that short video for those of you who are new to Two Loops and want to hear more about it. We have a few minutes before we want to jump into member stories. If people have any questions for Denise or I don't see any. Do you see any hands?
I see a comment from Victor saying, I'd like to give time, so I celebrate that. Marlene says the same thing. I celebrate that. Thanks for dropping that in the chat. We will have that information and reach out to you. Thank you. And then I just want to pause and look at all of these people on this call with us. So many faces and people I know. Thank you for joining us today. Hey, Michelle. So, Dawn, I'm just going to be quiet for a sec to see if anybody does want to raise a hand or speak up before we move forward.
You bet.
I just have a quick question. I've got a number of people I've been telling about HRC. It sounds like the doors are open to invite them in, and there's a mechanism by which they now join for the $49 a month for a few more days.
Yes. Let me find that link and put it back in the chat for you, Michelle, and you can share that forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Michelle, it's $49 for the whole year.
For the year, that's right.
Not per month.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, our biggest thing is we want this to be accessible to everyone. We don't want prices that make it difficult for people to say yes. All right. So do feel free to use the chat or ask any questions, and we'll be able to save any extra time that we have at the end. Marlene, no, you are grandfathered in. Thank you for that question. Trisha.
Quick question. I did click on the link that said membership plans, and it just takes you to the HRC landing page. Should it take you somewhere else?
If it's bringing you to the landing page, you probably see in the center it says click to join or membership plans. It'll bring you to the bottom of the page that has the two options, either the public option or the $49 option. Do you see that? You're not seeing that?
It's taking me to what it says: gather events for impact and upcoming.
If it's landing you inside the community, that's because, Trisha, you're already a member of the community. So
you already have a plan, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it's not taking you to the landing page, that means you're already a member and it's bringing you right in. It has that single sign-on. It knows you from your computer.
So I guess that means, and then to answer the same question that Victor asked and Marlene, how do you know if you're grandfathered in?
Anybody who was with us before we turned on that membership, you are grandfathered in. Yeah. Trisha, you've been with us from the beginning. Great questions. Thank you. Lisa, you're grandfathered in. I would have to look at what plan you're on, but you're in the platform already. Okay, so the next, Dawn is going to highlight 3 individuals for their member stories. So Dawn, I'm going to let you go for that.
Yeah, so let's hear from some of our members who are driving that change in healthcare. We're going to hear from Mindy first, and then Kim and Kathleen. These stories showcase the power of connection and collaboration within HRC. So I'll ask Mindy to go first, and then we'll go for Kim. And while I'm doing this, while Mindy's talking, Denise is going to drop her contact information in the chat for you. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you. Dawn and Denise, I can't begin to tell you how honored I am to be going first and to be invited to even talk about my journey. So many of you, because as I was looking as who was on, I was realizing how many people I have had connections with for the last several years, or maybe more recently. And that's what I think HRC is all about. But my story is that in September of 2020, my job went away. And at first I thought that was just a devastating thought so close to my retirement. And it turned out to be quite a great gift because I had done some research. Many of you have heard this story, but I did some research on patient fears. And I realized it changed the way people look at the things that we all know are best practices in healthcare, but it touches the heart as opposed to just this is the best practice and you just need to do it. It connects with the heart because if you think about rounding on patients or all of those things are to help alleviate fear. And so having my job go away gave me I'd done a research study and about fear, and I posted it. Beryl supported me in that effort, and so it's posted on the Beryl site, but it wasn't very widely distributed. And with my position going away, it gave me the opportunity to write a book about my research. And in July of 2022, an amazing thing happened. People from this group connected me with Denise, and suddenly I get this LinkedIn message from Denise. And she had heard about my research and about my book and invited me as a guest in a early patient, I forgot what you even called it back at the beginning, but the patient experience arm of all of this. I got a chance to speak, but more importantly, I got a chance to meet a whole lot of amazing people. And since July of 2022, I've had the chance to even meet some of you, Denise in Boston a year ago. Some of you I've met at other places. Many of you I've connected with offline after meeting you in a breakout room. And we've been able to chat outside of this group. It has generated speaking opportunities for me to be able to go to different conferences and to different organizations and share my research and share my story about how responding to fear with compassion helps both the healthcare team and the patients and families. So just in wrapping up, because I have no idea I have 2 minutes and I have no idea how many of my news. I loved that today was focused on radical collaboration because to me, that's what HRC has really been all about for me. All of a sudden, I was working on my own when my job went away, and HRC gave me a whole network. I have people I can call and say, and I have called and said, what would you do with this? Or how do you do this? Or how would you connect with this? And it's given me the chance to feel more connected and not so alone. I think through HRC, we have cheered each other on through work that we have each of us have done. We've been learning from each other, and I feel blessed to be a part of this community and honored to be speaking with you today. Thanks.
Thank you, Mindy. And doesn't that just highlight this importance of doing away with that feeling of isolation that so often those of us who are trying to make change feel, right? I can't emphasize that enough. Thanks, Mindy. And Kim, let's hear a little bit about your story.
Hello there.
Hey.
So I'll give a shout out to Mindy's book. Mindy, you were one of my first conversations probably from LinkedIn, coming up on 2 years, I would say. And you and I have to connect after this because you haven't been on my YouTube channel yet. And I've referenced your book and I don't have time now, but I could tell a personal story just from a month ago that your book really speaks to for me personally. So thank you very much. And if there's any of you that don't know me yet, I'm a PT by training. I recently had cancer 3 times. One of my amazing physicians took his own life. I still can't regularly talk about it without getting emotional, but I felt a calling to support doctors. And what I'm doing and how I'm doing it continues to be a work in progress because I didn't plan on doing any of it. I'm on the traction team for Medicine Forward. I'm very actively involved with this group as well. I'm ambassador for the Dr. Lorna Breen Heroes Foundation, and I have a podcast and a Substack newsletter called Stand Up for Doctors. And just last week, I registered in town as a business under the same name. And speaking to, thank you, Denise, speaking to Healthcare Reinvention Collaborative. So in November, as many of you know, we in Medicine Forward were part of the Burnout Symposium, and we called the question, how do we restore and nurture the human connection so needed in healthcare today? And the participants actually ended up being the ones to call the questions to what they specifically wanted to speak to. And one of them had to do with patient empathy and clinician well-being. And one of the physicians shared, look, we have to have unlimited empathy for our patients, which they do. But they said that, people don't understand, doctors are human too. And the things that doctors go through. And they were, the question was related to how can we foster patient empathy to understand, clinicians and what they're going through. So I was a bumblebee at this event, so I didn't get to stay and hear, all of what was going on in that conversation. But we had a follow-up event, which I think many of you participated in on December 16th, Medicine Forward, HRC, and KNN. And we called those questions again, and I was blessed to be the facilitator in that breakout room that spoke to patient empathy and clinician well-being. And between the two breakout sessions, there was at least a dozen of us. And since this is what I'm about, my mission is to build connection and create advocacy for healthy doctors. So at least 11 of us from out of the, I think 12, were interested in continuing these conversations. So I've put out a when to meet. And I've heard from most people so far. So within a day, we're going to get a time to meet, and we're going to continue this conversation about, what could we do? What should we do? And the other thing I want to add is I'll probably add more people into that. And just yesterday afternoon, I recorded an episode for my YouTube channel. And I had Dr. Erin Hurley on and Dawn Gazelka, and she does this Cards to Warriors, where she sends cards to patients and caregivers, but they both want to expand it to be sending cards to doctors. And I want to do something huge for Doctors Day. So if anyone, somebody can put my LinkedIn in. I'm still so technologically.
We got you covered.
But if somebody wants to, if any of you want to connect with me, because I've been trying for 2 years to do something local, and I send my own doctor's thank you notes, but we just want to make a huge impact to this. And so I appreciate you all. So thank you very much.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Kim is such a champion for doctors. If you haven't connected with her, you really, really should. I urge you to make that connection. Kathleen, let's hear your story, and then we'll open for some questions if we have time.
Hi, thank you so much. I don't know how far to go back, but when I think you were speaking about when the pandemic hit, I realized I had spent 23 years trying to make the outcomes of healthcare better, focusing on physician-nurse relationships and trust and building relationships and creating that fabric where all of our patients would be safe. And I realized that I'd failed, that I didn't have much of a legacy to leave anybody. I was disappointed. And that's when I ran into 3 other people, Dr. John Silver, Kim Evans, and Leon Meyer. And we started Nurses Transforming Healthcare with the idea that we're not paying attention to the research. The research says structure dictates process, which dictates outcomes. So if you want to change the outcomes, then what you want to do is you want to create a new structure. So I can't tell you how wonderful this group has been for me. First, somebody already mentioned about not being alone. I felt like Don Quixote fighting windmills, but the people who I can run my ideas by and run our ideas and plans by and get your feedback has been invaluable. Just absolutely invaluable. Through this organization, I have an opportunity to write a editorial for the Journal of Public Health. Through this organization and people here, I meet and learn that people are really doing parts of what I want to do in one place in many other places. Like imagine if we put medicine forward and primary care for physicians and Mindy's work all in one zip code, and we could change that, how wonderful it would be. So that's what our work is. And I'm looking forward to learning from you and from hearing. Our idea is how can we in one zip code, if we put everything in one zip code and we created this template for change, that would be sustainable and replicable. And let's do it on paper first, and then let's actually do it. So thank you so much to HRC.
Thanks, Kathleen. I love hearing that story every time. There's just so much to learn from each other, isn't there? And it really shows why we do this work, to hear these stories. Just love to hear all these connections being made and people learning from each other and doing things with each other. It's just really heartwarming for us. So we have a few minutes if people want to ask questions or exchange ideas with our 3 guests, or if you want to step up, if there's someone else that has a quick story they want to tell. We're a little bit ahead of time. So Marlene.
Hi. Well, Kathleen and Kim and Mindy, you all have such fabulous things that you're doing. And I know you were kind of rushing so that you gave everybody time. Is there anything that you could add that you didn't have a chance to share?
That's so sweet. I would just like to add that our organization, Nurses Transforming Healthcare, is looking for chairs. We need people. We need experts in academic experts, chairs in marketing and membership. So we're really looking for people. If you know people who can come together, that's what I'd like to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Kathleen I was just going to ask, is NTH still doing the Saturday once a month calls that are public?
Yes, then the next one will be on the 25th right, Jennifer? the 25th. It's not the second. This month in January. It's not the second because we couldn't get together, but it usually is the second. We have a public forum, but I will put that out when on HRC when we get it. It's at 10 a.m. Jennifer, I think on the 25th.
I'd have to look, but yeah,
Yeah.
I could see.
Okay. Excellent.
Kim, did you have something else to say?
Sure. Well, I love talking to people, if you can't tell. So anyone, I've had obviously conversations with some of you, but if we haven't had a conversation yet, feel free to reach out to me. And I do that. That's one of the things I do all the time. And when I talk to somebody, I seem to know who they'd want to be connected with. And also, and that's how we end up supporting each other. I always end the call by saying, what can I do to support you? And also, if you're interested in checking out my the YouTube channel, Stand Up for Doctors. I just share a lot of interesting physicians talking about interesting things and other people that intersect with healthcare. So Denise and Don and Paul have, and actually Lonnie, and Jeff, actually a number of you have already been on. And if you want to check out my Substack newsletter, that's a monthly summary of the work that I'm doing in the physician advocacy space.
Malcolm Gladwell talks about connectors. Kim is a connector.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if I still have another moment, I'll just say a couple things that have struck me. One is that I went real quickly through what my research showed, but more importantly than the fact that all of our patients and families, who was really what the research was on, walked in our doors afraid. Mm-hmm. They told us 3 things they needed: keep me informed, keep me safe, and keep me comfortable. My huge aha in 2020 was the fact that our team was afraid during COVID, right? And what did they need? Keep me informed, keep me safe, keep me comfortable, right? You think about what Kim and Kathleen had talked about right after me, it really all connects, right? We have to help people feel safe and feel comfortable so they can get all the information they need to deal with their fear. And so, and ourselves as well. I think, recognizing times when we're afraid and what do we need to feel safe and comfortable. But my aha as I listened to Kim and Kathleen speak is, wow, they're also connected, which is what this is all about. We're all working towards the same things.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Perfect way to transition us. Thanks, Mindy.
Yeah. So thank you all for sharing those stories. We really depend on you all giving us input. And as we plan for the next quarter, we would love your input on upcoming events. Let's look at what's coming in Q1. In February, we're hosting an event focused on long-term care. This is a follow-up to the Sizzler viewing of No Country for Old People that we did last July. I'm sure many of you were on that call. Rick and Susie were the ones that brought us that. This time in February, we're bringing together a panel of experts in that field that understand the dynamics involved in that space, and there are several. We encourage you to share the event link and invite others who would benefit from attending. This way we can work together, right, to grow the network. And Denise is going to put that link for that February long-term care event in the chat. And then for April, we're planning an event on the history of healthcare, health policy, health insurance. How did these areas evolve to what they are today? We learned from Impact Networks, from David writing that book, that the more we know about the history of how we got here today, the more we can discover those levers that can be used to change the current system. So we are still looking for more speakers for that April event. If you have any ideas, please drop them in the chat. We would also love to hear any ideas you have for March or for Q2 topics. Your input is critical. What topics or themes should we explore in Q2? Do you know of any speakers or organizations we should connect with? Please, again, share in the chat, or if you want to at this point, unmute to contribute. We're also dropping a Google form in the chat for those who prefer to submit feedback or nominations later. And Denise is dropping that in there. So we have a few minutes here to talk about what are your needs? What do you see as something that we can help you with? Some knowledge you'd like to have, some work that you would like to be doing, you'd like to know more about. And I'll just open the mic up for input on that.
And Kim put in the chat Doctor's Day.
Yes.
Because that's March 30th. So if your event is early in March, just something, everyone could do to talk about what could we all do to support doctors for Doctor's Day.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
Kim, would you be a guest for us if we had such a topic?
I would love to. It's my passion.
I know.
What else would you like to learn more about? Or what would you like to tell us about? What do you have knowledge of that you'd like to share with others? Michelle.
I have this big dream, and I think you all share it, of bringing creative, entrepreneurial, and entrepreneurial healthcare professionals, bust down the silos, come together and brainstorm together these solutions for healthcare. Because A lot of people are trying to solve this from inside the box. And somebody just told me, you can't read the ingredients when you're inside the jar. So if there are others interested in helping me brainstorm how we bring our creative minds together in a really actionable brainstorm, figure out solutions, be super duper creative way, I would love to talk to you.
Yeah, Kim, go ahead.
Michelle, I don't know if this is related to this, but Dr. Todd Otten had Dr. Fine on his podcast, and he talked about any big change that's happened has relied on a social movement, such as like women's right to vote and civil rights. And I at the Burnout Symposium, Dr. Gabe Shabano, his wife and I were talking about, and they thought we should have like some kind of national march of like doctors and patients and really everybody, right? That cares about this. And I know Denise said she'd be happy to be involved in some way. So I know Medicine Forward, we're talking about creating teams of teams, but I don't know how many teams I can be on, right? I'm only one person, but that would be a passion of mine too. And I think it's kind of related to what you're saying. But again, I don't quite yet know like what the next step. So just the way I'm gathering people who want to talk about patient empathy and clinician well-being, I don't know if people wanted to email me or send me a LinkedIn message if you wish to be on a project about, possibly, I mean, it wouldn't happen this year. It would be something on a grand scale and people would do local things that I'd be willing to explore that as well.
We'll be talking.
Connections.
Lisa, did I see you starting to raise your hand? Am I?
No, but I will add that. And what came to mind when we were thinking and ideating here around Doctors' Day, May is Nurses Month, or nurse focus on well-being for nursing. So I think we could dovetail something in that month as well for Q2 for throwing out ideas. And then the other thing, as Michelle was speaking, what came to mind is that collaborative idea around design thinking and ideating and what we can do together collectively. And so I think there's a lot of facilitation that could be had. I know Dawn does that. I do that. There's a lot of, my background's nursing and organizational development and coaching. So would love to collaborate as well, Michelle and Kim.
Yeah, I think that interdisciplinary approach is so important, right? We work on teams. I always say that in the emergency department, I felt like we worked in teams more than perhaps any other place, in the hospital or in the clinic, with our nurses and respiratory therapists and lab techs and everything right there all the time. And yeah. I certainly recognize how important that is. And I know, Lisa, you're right there with me.
Yeah, I agree. My background is perioperative nursing. So you can't operate on anyone without a team. So it takes a village. And that's why I'm focused now on teamwork as well.
So if you got the link to the Google form that we dropped, there's a couple different thoughts that have been generated. So you can score there. Do any of those topics resonate with you? And then there is a line at the bottom where you can add some other thoughts about themes and or speakers. So if you're not an in the moment kind of person, but it comes to you, keep that link so that you can submit ideas to us or vote on those that have been raised. We, of course, have more that have been raised during this conversation, which is exactly what we were hoping for.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you want to step into our mapping, Denise?
Yeah, I was just looking at this chat from Michelle.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I just put it if anyone wants to check it out, talking about how insane it is that we still train each other as absolutely individual professions and then expect us to work together.
There's a really good topic. Yeah. So we're ahead of schedule, which means pause us at any moment and we will have time after for a few minutes. Kathleen, I see your hand up. Awesome.
I think, Carl Sandburg said nothing happens if not first a dream. And I don't think there's enough conversations on let's think out of the box totally. And let's create what kind of healthcare system would take care of all of us, providers, patients, why don't we have that conversation? I'm so tired of LinkedIn. I mean, so many people talking about this is wrong, this is broken. I'm like, got it, move on. Let's have the conversation. Let's just imagine it. Let's pretend it's Minecraft. It's healthcraft. Let's craft it.
Yeah. Kathleen, I love that you said that because Dawn had floated an idea of us focusing in on appreciative inquiry, which Dawn, it has 3. It's dream, design.
Discover. Oh, I'm not going to get it right. Is there anybody else on here that knows? It's like discover and dream is in there, but that's towards not the first or second, I think. I'm sorry. I don't remember the 4 Ds now off the top of my head.
But Kathleen, a portion of that is dream. And I love that. Let's get outside of the box that we're currently in and envision to then be able to say, what can we lean into? I love it. So Dawn had floated doing, I think you were saying to do 4 events around each around one of those 4Ds in appreciative inquiry.
Oh, cool.
Or maybe 2 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there has been, by the way, in medical schools, there's really been an interdisciplinary movement to train medical students and nurses and pharmacists and so forth together. So there has been that effort, I know, in many of the medical schools. Started, I believe, up in Toronto. That seemed to be the gold standard, starting, I believe, in Toronto, Canada, of course. But yeah, it's coming. There's hope.
So yes, keep raising your hand, put things in the chat, stop us at any moment. We have the time. Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Define, discover, dream, design. Oh, there's 5. Awesome. So we wanted to
That
take.
looks different, but that's okay.
Oh, Keely, I see your hand up. Yes. Oh, you've got Salem in your arms.
Sorry, I was trying to get my camera back on. This is baby Salem, everybody. I apologize if you interrupt. But I just put in the chat an invitation to my organization space, which is called Health for the People. We are inside the HRC platform. So if you're in there, all you have to do is go to the connected networks and you can join it for free. And right now, there's not a whole lot in there because basically it's all designed as a space to talk about what Kathleen and Michelle and Lisa were just talking about, which is like what components of a plan are necessary to get the outcome that we want to see, right? So you'll see what I have already ideated on in there, and some of the links to things, thank you, Marlene, about kind of how I got there, because it was all pretty much listening work. There's a couple things that are my ideas, but I'd really love to see people come in there and have this conversation, and hopefully we can make more connections between the organizations that are already within there and HRC and build on that. So any way it can be useful, I'd love to see you guys in there.
And Keely, I'm not seeing it in the chat. Did you not hit send, or did you do it
It's
in
quite
a
possible I
private?
got distracted because there's a baby in my lap. Oh, I just sent it to Lonnie somehow. Hold on. Let me
Thank
fix
you.
that.
Yeah, and I love that you
is.
mentioned that, because one of the things that we are working to do is be a network of networks. And so we have spaces for other groups and networks to be within the HRC platform, so that we are really shining a light and connecting others, not just people, but those organizations and groups. All right, so we're going to step into talking about the developing social network map, but we're not going to spend much time here in this meeting, because on Friday there's an event on this that we welcome for you to join us on. That event actually will show you the map, and it will show you some insights that we've gleaned in it, and then we ask for your feedback in regards to what will make that even more valuable. So if you don't know what a social network map is, it's a way of visualizing people and their connections, being able to identify in a little bit more depth who these individuals are and what collaborative work they're associated with. And we're going to have organizations or networks in there as well, so that you can see the different organizations. We currently have a list and growing. I think at last count, our list had 612 organizations or networks that we would like to be featuring. So we are working and developing that map and doing member events once a month where we can show you that map, we can get you in it, you can strengthen your connections through it, and then help us to know what next steps on that. And so Dawn is dropping some links so that you can get some more information about that. You'll see that there's a link to the Sum app. Sum app is the platform we're building in. If you are currently a network member, so not in the public space, but you're a network member, you should be on that map. So that link will just use the same email that you use to get into HRC, and you should be able to get into that map and start to play with it. There's a video about the map that kind of gives you some more insights about what it is, and then how to use it, how to explore it. We had our first event for mapping on December 6th, and there's a short video. We did a summary video that you could watch there to see a little bit more information. And then for those who would like to join us on Friday, there's a link to that event. So lots of links were dropped about that. But this is one of those features of our efforts that we are really leaning into, because we feel that that is how we'll be able to see each other, see the good work that's being done, and then start to build collaborations. We are ahead of schedule, which I love. Are there any questions about the map? And while I ask that, I will find the proper link.
I'm keeping my eye out to see if anybody raises their hand. Michelle, be careful.
Dawn, somebody asked in the chat, is there a registration link for Friday?
There should be.
It should be the
upcoming map event. That should take them to the event. And I don't see anybody with questions. So go ahead, Kathleen.
I'm having trouble scrolling way back to the beginning of the meeting, finding people's emails. And I was wondering if there's another way we could do that.
To share contact information?
Yeah. I mean, because I'm having to scroll back to the beginning of the meeting and find people, 27.
Yeah. So Kathleen, on the summary that will be posted in the HRC community, we will link to everybody who's on here, especially if they're in the membership. But if they dropped their email, then I'll include that because that means it's okay to connect with them.
Got it. Thank you.
And you might try connecting on the platform as well, on the Mighty Network platform, if they're on that.
If they're there, right?
Yeah. Well, we want them to be. So
I just dropped the correct link. Thank you, Craig, again, for letting me know the mistake.
There's no reason that anybody can't be in there, at least as a guest at this point.
That's right.
Right.
And hey, we're in the middle of our engagement challenge. People are earning the badges. They're getting some recognition for everything that they're doing out there. So get out there and join us in the engagement challenge. Lots of fun.
Yeah, have some fun.
Our current leader, Lonnie, is on the call with us.
He's on the call with us today.
He has gotten all of the badges.
Yep. Well, I don't see any other questions or comments.
Do you want to wrap us up and we can go?
Yeah, I'll wrap us up. So let's just quickly recap. We shared some exciting updates with you. We heard some inspiring stories and gathered your valuable input. Thank you for your ideas for topics. This is how we shape our HRC's future. So we began with a focus on one of our values, that radical collaboration, and we encourage you to embody radical collaboration. Break down the barriers, build bridges, and work as partners in this shared mission to reinvent healthcare. Whether it's through contributing to the network map, sharing your ideas for upcoming events, or simply connecting with someone new, every action helps us move forward together. So keep an eye out for our follow-up email with links to the resources and upcoming events. If you're not yet a member, we'd love to have you join us. We're grateful for your time, your passion, and your commitment to transforming healthcare. And we really are building something extraordinary together. Denise?
Yeah, so we always end with an optional networking conversation. So we'll go ahead and step into that.